Roll call, Ms. Kathy.
Yes, sir. Mr. Abshire?
Here.
Mr. Angelpont?
Here.
Mr. Brame?
Here.
Mr. Collins?
Here.
Mr. Farnum? Mr. Guidry?
Here.
Mr. Guillory?
Here.
Mr. Landry? Mr. Latour?
Here.
Ms. Mayo? Mr. McMillan?
He's here somewhere. He's here.
And so is Mr. Farnum.
There's Mr. Farnum.
Les is here.
Okay. Mr. Scott?
I'm here.
Mrs. Trimmie? President White?
Nope.
Here.
And Vice President White?
Here.
And President Barris?
Here.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
You do have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 3, hold a public hearing at 4:30 as a result of a public hearing published in accordance with law for the purpose of hearing comments, suggestions, or protests relative to a draft system improvement plan with environmental impacts for a proposed project that includes acquisition, expansion, and improvement to the treatment plant and distribution system of and within Waterworks District Number 5 of Wards 3 and 8. Mr. Wainwright.
Thank you, Chairman Guillory. Before I introduce Josh Fontenot with Manshak Engineering, he's going to give you a presentation. Just want to say thank y'all for being here tonight. And this project is part of our planning effort for the Mallard Junction District to increase the water capacity and some other components of the system for sustainability reasons. It's a formal step in terms of the loan process. Josh is going to go through the project in enough detail, and then we'll host a public hearing, and then, like I said, many other steps before we get to the project phase spot, but this is just a formal step along the way to securing those funds. So Josh Fontenot with Manshak Engineering is going to provide you with a presentation.
Mr. Josh, state your name and address for the record.
Name's Josh Fontenot with Manshak Consulting Group. Address is 3710 Willowwood Drive, Lake Charles, Louisiana, 70605. Thank you all for having me today. Thank you all for hosting this meeting. Alan, thank you for the introduction. This is a public hearing on the Waterworks District Number 5 of Wards 3 and 8. We're required to do this public hearing due to the funding source, which is a funding through the Louisiana Department of Health State Revolving Loan Fund. As part of that, we did not get categorical exclusion for the improvements being made, so we had to have a public hearing and conduct an environmental study. This public hearing is to discuss the environmental findings of that, as well as go through some of the critical parts of the project. Got a brief agenda that we'll kind of run through, call to order. There are sign-in sheets going around. It's part of the policy. Everybody please sign in. I believe there's some circulating up front, and there's also some in the back. Through the presentation, I'm going to run through the statement of purpose, the project description, financing, the debt service, the cost to users, and then we'll go through a questions and comments. I do ask that any and all questions or comments are held to the end and will be addressed, and if I need to come back and reference a slide, I can do so. Statement of purpose. The need for the project. The need for the project is that Calcasieu Parish, as we all know, is going through a tremendous growth that's being caused through the industrial sector, and it's transferred into Waterworks District Number 5 through residential and commercial development. That residential and commercial development has created, or potentially will create, a strain on the water system, which has created a need to improve water production and distribution throughout the water system. The solution to that is we evaluated several alternatives for the water system, one of which is the no-action alternative. The no-action alternative clearly does not solve the problem at hand, so it was not selected. The second alternative was to join in a regional plant with the city of Lake Charles. That alternative from an environmental impact was very comparable to the environmental impacts for the selected plan. However, it was not chosen given time constraints, financing, and just the general cost of the project. The project that we have determined to go forward with is an expansion of the Mallard Junction water treatment plant and an expansion of the water distribution lines within the Mallard Junction service area as it stands. The environmental impacts for the selected plan As part of the development of this plan, we had to review the existing environment. It was conducted to determine the current condition and what impacts this project may have. 25 impact categories were assessed as part of this process, included protected species, drainage, air quality, and land use. It was determined that there would be no major impacts to floodplains and only minor impacts to wetlands in the proximity of the water treatment plant. In addition to our review of the environmental impacts, a summary of the plan was submitted to 15 local, state, and federal agencies, including U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, Louisiana Fish and Wildlife Services, U.S. Department of Agriculture, FEMA, EPA, Louisiana Department of Natural Resources, the Army Corps of Engineers, LDEQ, and the Louisiana State Department of Transportation. Through our solicitation from these agencies, we received minimal to no impacts, and we are proceeding as such. The only comments received from these were the fact that we had to obtain a permit from the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury at the time of construction, which we will do. The Army Corps of Engineers has requested that we conduct an investigation into wetlands, which we're in the process of doing, and through that, we have determined that there will only be 1/10 of an acre of wetlands impact, which is minimal and will be mitigated as required. The other alternatives from an environmental standpoint, obviously the no action would have no environmental impacts. The Lake Charles Regional Plant would have comparable, probably more so impacts than the selected improvement. So from an environmental and feasibility analysis study, it is determined to go forward with the expansion of the Mallard Junction Water Plant. So in short, project description, we're going to expand the existing Mallard Junction treatment plant to 2.6 million gallons per day in treatment capacity. Existing capacity at that facility is roughly 1.1, so we'll more than double the production out of that facility. And throughout the distribution system, we'll make alterations to some of the elevated storage tanks and also conduct some distribution system improvements. This is simply a site plan of the existing water treatment plant and those improvements which are scheduled. At the water treatment plant, we will be installing a new water well, a new pressure filter, a new high service pump station, a new chemical feed system to accommodate the increased capacity, and we'll be relocating and improving a maintenance building which is currently on site but in the way of the other needed improvements. As far as the distribution system is concerned, we will be installing a 12-inch line down Highway 397 from Highway 90 to McCown Road. We will be connecting a 12-inch line from that line back towards James Sudduth Road to tie back into the elevated storage tank that's at James Sudduth Road. In addition to that, we will be closing in a loop on Boys Village and Canal Road. Where there is none, we will be putting a 12-inch line to increase both capacity to some developments in that area and also increase reliability through just multiple sources being able to get into that location. Total estimated project cost. Total estimated project cost is roughly $8.5 million. $8,468,650 is estimate. That project cost includes development of the system improvement plan, engineering fees, inspection during construction, and estimated construction costs. The project will be funded by means of low interest rate loan, the 2.45% interest rate through the LDH Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund. As part of that revolving loan fund program, there is a principal forgiveness which the parish will take advantage of. And as part of that, basically the state will give you, they call it principal forgiveness, it's a $500,000 grant that's given for using the loan fund program. Total anticipated loan amount based on the total projected project cost is $509,093 a year. The current O&M costs for the district are approximately $189,500. The future anticipated O&M costs will roughly double to $364,500. It should be noted that those O&M cost increase will only be from producing more water. So those costs will not be assumed right at the completion of the facility, but basically as you produce more water, your energy costs will go up, your chemical consumption costs will go up, and you may or may not have a little bit of additional labor costs. One of the things to note in that is given the improvements being made, we will not have a need to hire additional people. The existing staffing for the district will satisfy because the confines of the facility are not changing. There's really no difference in the operations. We're simply making improvements to what they have now. And if anything, it will be operationally easier. Debt service. There are multiple options being considered for servicing the debt of the loan. The first of which is I guess a subsidy from the Calcasieu Parish Gaming / General Fund, and it would not pose any direct impact to the users in the water district. The second option, or I guess these are not options, these are all being considered to be used. Could be used in conjunction with one another or could be used independently. The other option is a water service impact fee. An impact fee could be assessed on new development in the district's planning area. This fee would only impact new development and would be assessed based on the meter size. This impact fee would not cause any additional cost to existing customers. The third is a rate increase. A rate increase for this project was passed in 2015, 16, and 17. The annual cost of living rate increase of 2% may be assessed for the following 19 years in order to help service the debt, potentially ending in 2037. The cost to users. The chart on the left is a rate schedule, and these are just typical bills that people would have gotten in 2016, and the rate on the chart on the left is the 2017 rate schedule, just reflecting the 15% increases which have been passed already as we are in 2018. Any additional 2% increases would simply be a 2% increase on the numbers on the right-hand side. Cost to users in a more summarized manner. Residential customer with 3/4-inch meter using less than 6,000 gallons a month. Current monthly bill is roughly $25.05. Future would be $28.82, roughly is $3.77 per month increase. Residential customer outside of the district with the same consumption, current monthly bill would be $37.54. Future monthly bill would be $43.18, roughly a $5.64 increase. That is it for my presentation, and turn it to y'all, the public, and the jurors, if y'all have any questions that you'd like to address.
Is there anyone from the audience who would like to comment on this item? Seeing none. Is there any other discussion from the jurors or questions for Ms. Safano? Yes, Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What was the percentage of the capacity increase of the plant?
Approximately 1.1 million gallon capacity as it stands now. We're increasing it to 2.6 million gallons per day.
So it's 1 point, how many?
1.1 to 2.6, so roughly
So a little over 50%
correct.
increase. And I guess that kind of explains the relationship of the percent increase of the O&M costs as well.
Correct.
Footprint, how much bigger is the footprint
Come back
of the
to-
plant? Did they have to acquire property and?
We did. We had to acquire property, not necessarily for the footprint of the actual physical structures per se, but we did have to acquire 6 parcels within the subdivision to the north of the site. And those were primarily purchased for the installation of the water well. With water wells, you have to maintain a certain separation between them so as not to influence one another. And so we had to get.
You don't have to build another admin building or another maintenance building, or all those things may increase a little bit in size, but most of it was put into the pure infrastructure of increasing the capacity.
That's correct.
Why are there any customers out of the district? I guess is, I don't know who would answer that. Why wouldn't we expand there's a lot of difference in the cost of inside and outside. Why would we not just increase the district to make it match what we're servicing?
Well, I think we have considered that on a number of occasions with everything that's going on in the southeast quadrant, if you would, of Lake Charles and in our area. I think there's been a number of scenarios we've gone through. I think, though, for the Mallard Junction district, really at this time, we're looking more into staying within that district's boundaries and allowing the rest of that area, if you would, to find another way to service them rather than trying to expand this district so far south and east. It's really reaching its it's peak of what we can do there out that way, so it would just get cost prohibitive to keep taking this water that far south. So really, our long-range strategy is to come up with a better solution in that corner of the growth area, if you would, for what you're talking about. It's growing, and we need to support that, but not necessarily through this plant.
So right now, the customers that would live out of district, what kind of numbers are you talking about percentage-wise? I mean, do you have a lot of people that are now being serviced that aren't actually in the geographical district?
Terry might know better the numbers, but, so if roughly, I think we have about a 1,500 customer district, so it's probably a couple hundred, I'm gonna say less than 300 out of district over there, so percentage-wise, Terry might know much more accurately.
Yes, sir. Terry Freelo with the Public Works Department. We have approximately 1,600 paying customers, and I think about maybe 300 is outside district limits.
Yeah.
So have we looked at expanding the district to pull those people into the district, or is just logistics don't work, or?
Well, like I said, I think we have, it's more with the property taxes that exist, that are already, that are there, or complicating. Plus, I think really, at the end of the day, we're really looking to service that area, you know, in another way versus expanding this district that way. I mean, we really got to come up with a new regional plant in that area, probably for a long-term solution.
Okay.
We really got to get all the way down around the Carbina area as well. So it's bigger in that area than this plant can do, we think. So we're tending to, we'll hold pat with this, make it sustainable for the next 20, 30 years, and we'll work on that other solution.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Scott.
Not in 20 to 30 years. That's just a question off the top of my head. That's,
No,
that'll help this, but we're working on the next.
Yeah, we're
Nice.
working daily on the other
Yeah,
solution.
just to clarify, that was
Yeah.
just a question that came up when you last. So you touched on it already, but so you're only gonna get to McCown Road. Right now, we're not projected to go any further with this project. You just don't think it'll handle that?
Correct. This road, really just, this project for us for new lines completes a loop out there along the McCowan area that we've been needing to do to strengthen the sustainability in that area. But the focus of this project really is at the plant itself and doubling the capacity.
I know we subsidize most water systems, no matter what kind they are, but with all these projected numbers you have, do you have some projected revenue with new clients you're expecting to get over the next few years? What does that look like? I know the O&M, you doubled it, so are we doubling, we think we're gonna double our water revenues that come into that district? Is that what we're projecting?
I can't say doubling,
let
but I'll defer.
Teresa and the accountants talk to you about the projections. We've been very conservative, but the short answer is yes. She can give you specific numbers.
Can you ask me again, make sure I'm answering your question specifically and not
We
going
got a
around the world?
projection on the maintenance cost to run this facility. We know how much it's gonna cost to build it. So we bound to have a projection on the revenue we think we're gonna be in order to support just these. So do you have a number on that?
Yes. That's probably what I spent the better part of this week on. So we expect there are some identified developments that are outside the district that have been sort of pending this expansion. So we know that there are those that are likely to come on in that outside district area. So that's some growth. That projection, I believe, is about $85,000 a year additional income in the first few years. Additionally, as Josh mentioned, one of the options for repayment to cover the increased capacity within the district is a approximate 2% increase on fees annually as needed, if needed. The current projections are that'll be needed in some years, probably not in all years. And so we'll play it year by year, increase as needed, not when we don't need it. It shows that we can meet the repayment to the, to the required ratios. And I don't think there are any major concerns with that.
All right, you might answer these questions, see, since we're talking money.
Sure.
So we start looking at the 3 different ways of paying this back, and I'm sure it's gonna be a little bit of all of them and not one of those.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about the gaming part of it, and then we get into the impact fees, so is there a percentage we're already looking at that we pretty sure that we're gonna take it up later, I'm sure, and figure out how, but, I mean, if you've applied for this loan, you've had to kind of tell them what you're gonna do out of gaming, so your plan is to do what with the money, at what point? 10% out of gaming every year for just that, out of that fund, out of that 500,000 a year, or, I mean, what are we looking at projections?
The projections that we've thrown into the calculations on the estimate side is 75,000 to 100,000 a year when needed. And by my numbers, it's not always needed.
Okay.
There are some years it's needed more than others, so.
And impact fees, that's probably gonna be standard, especially, because I'm looking at your rates that we're gonna charge people. Those are reasonably low compared to what some people are now paying that the Public Service Commission is allowing in some of these community systems. Like even the one where we're doing half amount, so we're at $43, that's still less than one of our most, less neighborhoods out. Right now, we have a very depraved neighborhood, very poor. And they're paying $104 a month for water and sewer. Their water bill just alone crosses close to $48 a month. So even at $43 a month, you know, there's probably still some room to, you know, we want to stay as cost-effective as we can.
Yeah, I think that we're definitely striving to keep the rates as low as possible. On the other hand, have this district be sustainable and be able to afford this project and whatever it needs to be sustainable. Impacts coming from new development are probably the most kind of up in terms of what you may get or not, because you just don't know if a new development's coming or not. So we really have factored that in as we feel like it's needed because of the balance of all the customers in the district paying their fair share. And when you look at the other expansions in this district, which we've done several now, at least two big ones over in my tenure, they've all come with a front foot assessment as well, where people had to pay to connect to it. So in essence, it's the same program, just a little different strategy. But we feel like the impact fee for new development is needed. We'll put that, and you're right about one part you said, is we have to come back to the full jury or the board and ultimately get the financial package blessed. But the impact fees will be there, the rates as needed have the ability to go up 2% annually, and then, you know, gaming funds from the police jury like Teresa talked about, or really the combination that we look to cover the debt.
All right, next question. We're talking about, is this a fire system?
Yes, sir. Everything in this system is, and this is going to be a big boost to the fire fighting capacity. I don't know if it changes any rates or our ratings, but it's surely going to make it, it's one of the driving factors for why we need to do it is we feel like we've grown now and expanded to the point where we're at the boundary where we feel comfortable allowing new customers to join the system now because we want to be able to fight fire if need be.
What kind of meters are you gonna do? Drive-by, or are they gonna get out and read them? Right? So we're doing drive-by meter, electronic?
Our meters, Terry May can tell you, I think they're,
Basically, we actually hired a meter reading company, so we do drive-by, and we actually have someone physically read the meters.
So they get out and actually, have
Correct.
y'all looked into like?
Well,
District 12?
yes, we have, and we looked at it, so over the long run, it's cheaper to actually hire a service than to go in and upstart. It'll take us about 20, 30 years to recoup that money, so.
All right, I think it's the last question. We'll go back to the fire system. Is that fire system up to codes with what the city does? Because I know we keep coming across that discussion of, well, if we were to, what does it look like? So is this up to what if we ended up saying, hey, city, let's play together and this is all gonna work and it's all awesome? Or are they gonna say, well, that's not so, and I know it's just hypothetical, but I just would like to know.
I can't say that me or Terry know 100% with 100% accuracy that we meet everything, but over the years, I can tell you we have, our goal has been to make sure that it meets and if not exceeds all those same codes and needs. So We feel like Mallard Junction District is a very strong district. Its infrastructure is strong. It's well put together. It's well maintained, all those things, and it's going to fight fires well. This project will really put us into, we feel like a comfort zone of being able to allow even more customers to come on and continue to provide that level of service. Whether we meet Lake Charles's standards, if you would, I think we're going to do well in that test. We may not be 100%, but we would do quite well.
All right. When do we think this might break ground? Just, I know we're in public comment and stuff, but what's your
Josh?
projected thought process?
If everything goes smooth,
If everything goes smoothly, the anticipation would probably be to, before the end of the year. I would like to see it in construction probably around October. We've got to go through, after this hearing, go through several more steps with the state revolving loan fund regarding their requirements, which is the final submission of a business plan, which is going to iron out the financial terms which you're discussing, because those have not been finalized. We've presented some options to them, and they've approved them, but as far as showing them the balance sheet and showing them how it works, that has yet to be done. And then as far as the environmental side, they've got to go on an advertisement and do their own thing with it after this, and that'll take about 3 months, and then after that, it's finalizing the plans and then going out to bid.
The environmental, that's with the Corps. So you think, what's the Corps? You mentioned the Corps a while ago. We got to do the Corps.
We do have to deal with the Corps a little bit on this, and we started dealing with them probably in mid-2017, so we're getting there. I don't foresee that being a delay.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
President Barris.
Thank you. Approximately how many miles of service will you be adding? It's, like, just put it into, like, instead of a footprint or whatever, just,
A radius?
well, just how many miles of roadway will you now have this system on? Is
So
there-
we're actually not changing we're not growing the footprint of the system. We're only improving reliability within the system.
Okay.
We're increasing line sizes and putting lines where they are not present, which is to transmit water further and to transmit more water for fire protection and such things.
Okay.
The district is fairly large, and it's actually fairly undeveloped, and there's a lot of planned development within the confines of the district. And so it's really improving the reliability within the district itself and not necessarily expanding the footprint.
That's
So
fine.
ju-
Hold
ju-
on, Mr. Judge.
just to answer that, I don't know, maybe you was, and we do have some new lines in the looped area.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's
Yeah,
a few,
so, yeah,
I don't know
I
if
think-
it gets to miles or feet, be honest with you, but,
I apologize, I don't have the exact footage of that particular water line
if you
that
can
closes
see
in.
the, really the newest, the line that would be the newest,
Yeah,
would be
that line
the
of
pink
Boys
line.
Village and Canal Road is
Yeah.
7,700 feet, so
Yeah, so
mile and a
a
quarter.
mile plus of new line, if you would.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, President Barris. Mr. Abshire.
Who's actually going to be borrowing the money?
The district.
The Waterworks district? Why are we borrowing money? I mean, with tax revenues that have been increasing, the parish has plenty of cash. Are there other options besides?
We're, the district is running, is doing this, the district, I know it seems like the parish, but tonight we're the district, and the board for the district, so our funding situation is good, but we can't afford this kind of thing, even with the potential grant from the police jury, factored into the equation. I don't think, we're 1,500 customers, and the police jury is here to serve all 200,000, or, to give all of our available funding on our police jury hat to this district. We've never really taken that approach. We've let the district be sustainable to the degree that it can. Because you got to remember, you have a lot of other little water districts out there as well that I think you would be faced with the same question if you took that approach.
Thank you, Abshire. I do need a motion to close for public hearing.
Motion.
I'm sorry, Mr. McMillan.
Mancheck, Allen, thank you for working together on projects like this. This is truly what we do in the parish is infrastructure. Water, roads, sewage, streets, ditches, things like that. To bring a project like this to us is a very good thing for this district. And I support what we're doing. I'd like to see it maybe done time and time again in other districts as we need it. But this is going to be good because You're gonna have a really good water system. You're gonna help with fire protection, and the people are gonna get good value and good water. Thank you for what y'all do, and I appreciate you bringing this to us. Thank you.
Mr. Scott?
I'd like to, just because I like bringing this up about any discussion, if there's any way to squeeze out a little bit more of infrastructure in this and expand this a little bit while we have the contractor. So if we can work up an alternate in this, that maybe we did have to, not borrow the money for, but maybe we figured out a way to help the district somehow with a little bit of money. But if we got an alternate in there when we bid this project, and we can decide if, hey, that's what we do, like Mr. McMillan said, we're in the infrastructure business, so more is cheaper. I mean, I'm in business, more is always cheaper. I look for a discount, so,
We will bear, yes, sir.
Thank you.
We'll bear that in mind.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Josh will be glad to.
I do need a motion to.
I'd like to
close-
move on number
close the
3.
public hearing. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any objection? That motion will carry. Item 4, are there any other matters for consideration? I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and I have a second to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Gillard. You're up. Let's-
We now call to order the Public Works meeting dated 1/25/26 of 18. Roll call, please, Kathy.
Yes, sir. Mr. Abshire?
Here.
Mr. Angelpont? Here. Mr. Brain?
Here.
Mr. Collins?
Here.
Mr. Farnum?
Here.
Mr. Guthrie?
Here.
Mr. Guillory?
Here.
Mr. Landry? Mr. Latour?
Here.
Ms. Mayo? Here. Mr. McMillan?
Here.
Mr. Scott?
Here.
Mrs. Trimmy? Vice President White?
Here.
And President Barris.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Kathy. We'll go to item 3, consideration of making a recommendation with reference to adopting a resolution approving an amendment to the professional engineering contract between the police jury and Oquant and Associates
Move on 3.
Second.
for the North Perkins Ferry Road Bridge Replacement Project. I have a motion by Mr. White and a second by
Me. I want to talk.
Mr.
You
Barrett.
can second me or second them, it don't matter.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Trimmie.
I just want to know about the bridge replacement. Are you on? Is this?
I'm going to ask Mr. John Bruce to come up if you ask a hard
Oh,
question
hey,
at
John.
all.
Hey, John.
He ain't going to sit in the chair.
John, the only thing I'm thinking about is, by doing that, are we going to close the whole road, period? You can't go either way?
On
When we
Perkins
take-
Ferry,
Yeah, when we take the bridge out?
part of this change is installing a temporary detour route to avoid that
That's
problem.
what I was going to ask for. Thank you very
You
much.
got it. You're welcome.
Thank you. That's the answer I wanted.
Mr. Scott.
Before you run, I'm curious how much that temporary detour route costs, if you don't mind.
It don't matter.
I know it don't matter, but I'd like to know. The people want to know, I meant.
Only he wants to know.
Projected. I know it's gonna be worth it, because I couldn't imagine closing that road.
Yeah.
Oh, it got quiet.
Yeah, we're listening.
It's a drum roll, you don't hear.
The total project budget went up from $130,000 to approximately $1.5 million.
For a temporary?
Yes.
Small change for temporary, son.
Yeah.
We gotta have that road open.
I've
Gotta
never
have
been
it.
so sorry that I asked a question.
It actually
never
incorporates
been so
two
sorry, yes.
changes. One of the major ones is a temporary detour. The second change is a style of bridge that maximizes the clear opening in the channel to incorporate drainage improvements.
Oh, well, that made me feel much better.
Oh, that
Drainage
made me
improvement.
feel a lot better.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dennis. Any other discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, that item will carry. We'll go to item 4, consideration of making a recommendation with reference to adopting resolutions, approving traffic engineering services for the Calcasieu Parish Transportation Initiative Program.
Move on 4.
A,
Second.
Intelligent Transportation Systems, Inc. for the LA 384 project, Country Club Road. B, Alliance Transportation Group, Inc. for the LA 27 corridor project, Lewis Street to High Hope Road. C, Neil Schaefer, Inc. for the LA Highway 1256 corridor project, Patton Street to Dave Dugas Road. We have a motion by Mr. President Barris, I'm sorry, Motion by Mr. McMillan, second by President Barris. Is there any discussion? Any objection? Oh, go ahead, President, Mr. Barris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On this, say the 1256 corridor project, I mean, we're gonna have a service contract between these engineering firms. How much oversight of that project do we have?
Mr. Bruce again, he'll need to come.
Sorry,
I'm
Mr.
gonna defer
Brewer.
that one to Mr. John. And I think you might know where I'm going with this.
Yes. The parish is paying for the general engineering services, in this case, the traffic engineering services in the contract before. We are going to be under contract. The contract will be between the parish and the engineering company, be the only two entities involved. So we will have total oversight of it. We are interfacing with LADOTD, so of course, during the course of the design, we will have checkpoints during the process to make sure we're on the same page with them, that they're not going to have any problem with accepting the improvements once they're built.
I know where I'm going, but I can't figure out how to get there from here, but on this,
You sound like me.
I just, and I know this is just one of those things that's in my area, and it's just, I'm getting calls, a lot of calls on the pace of that project, and just the way it looks, and I know that there are extenuating circumstances with weather and things like that, but, okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Barris. You done? No, Mr. Scott?
Move on number 5.
Okay, well, first we're gonna finish. Is there any other discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, that motion will carry. Item 5, consideration of making recommendation with reference to adopting a resolution accepting Coffee Pines Part 2, Phase 4 subdivision. Motion by Ms. Trimmie.
Second.
Second by Mr. White. Is there any discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, that motion will carry. Item 6, any other matters for consideration? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a
Got
motion
5 of them.
and a second. We are adjourned.
I now call the Agenda Committee meeting to order. The purpose of today's committee meeting is to formulate an agenda for the regular meeting of the police jury on February 1st, 2018. I now need a motion and a second to pull item 20.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Hal McMillan and a second by Mr. Latour. Any discussion? Huh? Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item number 20, take appropriate action on the terms of the following members of various boards and districts. A, Mr. Bob King, Southwest Louisiana Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Move to appoint Mr. Rob King.
Second.
Moved by Mr. McMillan and second by Ms. Trimmie. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. B, Ms. Mary
Move to
A.
reappoint Ms.
Eason.
Mary Kay Eason.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Dennis Scott, second by Mr. Guy Brain, to appoint Ms. Mary Eason. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. C, Mr. Jeremy East, Waterworks District, number 14
Move
of
to
Ward
reappoint.
5.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Trimmie, second by Mr. Latour. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Move to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Good job.